Hello, and welcome. It is Sunday, December 6th, 2020, and this is Truly News. As we begin this new day, let's start by increasing your knowledge and expanding your insights with a review of today's news. As always, we begin with a look at the top stories from around the country. And here are the stories that are leading the news today. Today's headlines: California locks down. Kia recalls cars. Diplomats targeted with microwaves. Biden calls for COVID relief. California, the most populated state in America, is facing statewide shutdowns starting tonight. The order goes into effect at midnight. Non-essential businesses will be closed, and gatherings will be limited. The restrictions have been triggered by safeguards, which create shutdowns when hospitals reach critical capacity. On Saturday, Kia announced a recall of 295,000 cars due to concerns over engine fire risks. The recall includes the 2011 to 2013 Optima, the 2012 to 2015 Forte, the 2012 Sportage, the 2012 to 2013 Sorento, and the 2014 to 2015 Soul. Owners are advised to take the vehicles to their local dealer for inspection. Since 2016, diplomats in some countries have suffered from sudden and unexplainable illness. Symptoms include nausea, headaches, and dizziness, which are intense and unexpected. After several years of investigations, the State Department announced that the likely cause is targeted microwave attacks. Who is instigating the attacks is unknown. President-elect Joe Biden has called on Congress to take broad actions to help those who are struggling financially as a result of COVID. Biden's statement came after a jobs report on Friday showed that the country was struggling to recover from the financial effects of the pandemic. Biden called the report grim and called for immediate action. And that's your top news for today. Now, in our look beyond the main headlines, let's begin with the latest advances in science, technology, and space exploration. In science news, amino acids first discovered in meteorites 50 years ago. In an article published in the journal Science News on December 5, 1970, scientists announced that they had discovered amino acids in meteorites. The discovery was important because amino acids are the organic compounds that are the building blocks of life. Since the 70s, amino acids have been found in other samples from space, promoting the idea that life could be a common occurrence in the universe. In technology news, China is one of the first countries to launch a digital form of currency. Earlier this year, the Chinese government began testing a digital form of currency, which is now being used in several of the country's largest cities. The initiative is part of an effort by China to become more influential. For many years, it has tied the value of its currency to the United States dollar, which was seen as the most influential currency. China is now focused on making its currency the world standard. In space news, Japan successfully returns asteroid samples to Earth. For the second time in history, humans have collected and returned asteroid samples to Earth. On Saturday, the Japanese Space Agency successfully completed a mission, flying millions of miles to an asteroid, collecting samples from its surface, and returning the samples to Earth. The capsule touched down in a remote part of Australia, carrying approximately 100 milligrams of samples. And that is your science, technology, and space news for today. Now we look at the latest in health, social, and environmental news. In health news, PPE is still in short supply on the front lines of American hospitals. According to research published by Healthline, healthcare workers are reporting that personal protective equipment is still in short supply. The number of companies supplying PPE has increased, but high demand and problems have created continued shortages. One of the problems is greed, which is leading to products being bought up or stolen in an effort to resale at high prices. In social news, contact with police in early life has different outcomes for blacks and whites. A new study in the journal Social Problems by researchers from the University of Washington shows racial bias regarding early police contact. According to the study, blacks who have contact with police by their early teens are 11 times more likely to be arrested by the age of 20. Whites, who have police contact by the time they are teens see no greater likelihood of arrest than other whites. In environmental news, new substance allows the energy from light to be stored for months. In research published in the journal Chemistry of Materials, scientists have found crystal substances that can store light in the form of energy. The materials can store the energy for months, and potentially years, and then release it as heat. The discovery has the potential to help advance solar technologies, which need additional ways to store light energy for times when light is not available. And that is your health, social, and environmental news for today. Now, it is time for our look at economic and world news. In economic news, the number of long-term unemployed reaches its highest level in 7 years. According to the jobs report released by the Bureau of Labor Statistics this week, nearly 4 million people are facing long-term unemployment. For the unemployed, long-term is defined as being without a job for over 6 months. The November number was the highest reported in the United States since December 2013. The continued spread of COVID and its financial impact remains the biggest factor. In world news, Trump announces sudden and early withdrawal of troops from Somalia. On Friday, the Pentagon announced that Trump has ordered the withdrawal of U.S. troops from Somalia before the end of his term as president. The reason for removing the troops is unclear. The financial impact on the United States military budget will be inconsequential, since there are only 800 troops in Somalia. However, the troops were seen as a deterrent to African-based extremist groups linked to Al-Qaeda. And that is your economic and world news for today. To wrap things up, we take a look at your entertainment options with newly released movies, shows, and books. In newly released movies, today's movie is Love, Weddings and Other Disasters. A fussy celebrity caterer, a blind woman, a tour bus guide and an inexperienced wedding planner search for love. Love, Weddings and Other Disasters is now available for rent on various streaming services. In newly released shows, today's show is We Are the Champions, an exploration of quirky, charming and oddly inspiring competitions, providing a window into a world of competitors who put it all on the line. Episodes of We Are the Champions are now showing on Netflix Max. Finally, in entertainment news, our newly published book is Modern Warriors by Pete Hegseth. The Fox News host and former combat veteran interviews soldiers about the different kinds of battles they encountered. This book is presently number 5 on the New York Times nonfiction bestseller list. And that is your entertainment news for today. To see today's new movie, show, and book, or to browse our previous reviews, visit the Truly News Daily Print Edition. The print edition is available at trulynews.org. There you will find all of today's news, with archives of past news that is searchable by subject. As always, we end our podcast with hope for humanity, stories about the goodness and kindness people show each other every day. And here's today's story. From Holden, Maine. Police spread 25 days of kindness. In an annual tradition, members of the Holden Police Department take part in 25 days of kindness. The effort is meant to spread goodwill, kindness, and happiness among the community. Thanks to many donations, the police department is able to give toys to children, and it also collects food and clothes for the needy. Recently, the police gave a $100 tip to the workers at their favorite donut shop, and that is not a police joke. And that is your news for 44,170. Have a wonderful day.